Welcome to the Costa Property Podcast, the podcast that turns your dreams of owning a piece of paradise on the Costa del Sol into reality. I'm Warner Laurie, and I'm joined by my co-host and wife, Sandra Laurie.
Join us as we embark on navigating the ins and outs of real estate and relocation to this beautiful region.
We're not just about market trends, we're about sharing real-life experiences, because we know the struggle firsthand and I've helped many people navigate this challenge also.
If you're dreaming of your perfect Costa del Sol home and want to get real, no-frills, expert advice, then you're absolutely in the right place. Join us each week as we share honest insights and information that will guide your journey. Moving to Spain was one of the biggest decisions that we've ever made. With our little ones in tow, we left behind the familiar comforts of Ireland and headed to the Costa del Sol back in 2016 on a one-way ticket. In today's episode, Warner and I are taking a fun, candid look back at our big move to Spain, sharing what we've learned, what we would change, and what we're glad we did right. Whether you're thinking about making the move yourself, or you're just a little curious about the ups and downs of relocating with kids, you're in for an honest conversation about the realities of starting a new life in Spain. Stick around until the end, where we reveal whether we would do it all over again. Okay, so before we dive into today's episode, Warner, what is the Spanish word of the day?
The Spanish word of the day is aventura, and aventura means adventure. And in 2016, we definitely went on an adventure, Sandra.
Amazing. Thanks for that, Warner. Now let's jump into today's episode. We get asked the question a lot, Warner, from our clients, from our friends, from people we meet. They're always intrigued about our decision to move to Spain, the why behind the decision, the reason why we decided to pack up our bags in 2016 and move from Ireland to Spain with two babies in tow. And I guess I understand why people are really curious about that decision, because it isn't the norm. If we think back to our time in Ireland, we didn't really see people around us packing up their bags or uprooting their families, selling their houses and moving to a new country, right? So I understand why people are super curious about it, but I'd love to get your perspective on our why.
I just think Ireland was really good for us. We were there for 5 years. It was really good for the first 2 years. And then we had Abigail, and then the situations kind of changed. We lost one of the big contracts in my job. So from being a comfortable environment, I had to go get another job, and you were still in the job that you were there. So there was a commute there as well. The lifestyle that we had, we were looking for different options. There must be more to life than what we had in Ireland, and that was when we started looking at different options of living abroad.
I think there was a real defining moment for us, though, and that was we travelled to Spain for my 30th birthday. I think at that time, it's fair to say, we were finding life in Ireland really tough. We had 2 kids in childcare, and for anyone who isn't familiar with childcare costs in Ireland, they're crazy. Even though we both had 2 good jobs, managing the finances and trying to have a lifestyle that we wanted, at times it was tough, right? So we came to Spain for my 30th birthday. We spent 10 days here. We met up with friends. And we just were really in awe of their lifestyle. Outdoors with their kids all the time because of the climate, spending time in the parks and spending time in the beaches with a picnic, whether it be winter or summer, that's all free. So that massively opened our eyes in terms of, okay, maybe there is a world outside Ireland or the UK or wherever Northern European country that you're based. Maybe there is a world beyond the rain and the bad weather. And I think we were just super intrigued and wanted to follow that with a sense of curiosity.
Yeah, those 10 days were an eye-opener for me and you, and also for all of us, to see everybody, all our friends, sons, going to summer camp, enjoying the outdoor lifestyle. It was just, what are we doing? Why are we struggling in Ireland when we could have this lifestyle for our kids? And all of us health was really coming into it as well, because we did live in a valley in Ireland, and he had eczema and asthma, and he was really struggling all the time at the medical doctors. So we researched a bit and found that the outdoor lifestyle and Spain could be a benefit for eczema and asthma. And actually it has been. Oliver is a totally different person from when he left Ireland.
I actually get quite emotional hearing you talk about that, because he was really struggling in terms of his health, and that was a huge transition to be able to bring him here, experience the lifestyle, spend the time outdoors. And it was like overnight, the boy changed, right? From being indoors all the time, damp weather, really struggling with his breathing, not able to really do sports or participate in activities like normal kids his age, to a boy now who it's just night and day. He plays football, he plays golf, he speaks 3 languages. But at that time, we were so concerned about his health. Like it was really a problem, right?
Yeah, it was. It was a major problem and a big concern for us. And I always remember when we got the flight back, Oliver's a thinker.
Like his dad.
And he said to me on the plane, he says, next time when we go back, Dad, I'm going to be swimming. And he had that in his head from the time that we left to go back to Ireland to the time he came back to Spain. That was his goal, to get swimming. So it was just some of these things that from a children's point of view, how different the lifestyle could be. And we just had to make that decision and just go with it.
So into the actual journey to Spain in itself, you know, in terms of packing up our life, getting ready to go, moving with 2 kids. Gosh, if I reflect back now, I became a bit obsessed with keeping my furniture. I wanted to bring my furniture to Spain with me. I guess looking back, it was probably a sense of having some familiar things around me. Bit of nesting syndrome when we moved to a new country. So we spent a fortune at the time on moving our furniture over to Spain, and a lot of stress to going through that removal process that I don't think we actually needed to do in hindsight, right? There's great furniture shops in Spain. We're not living in another planet. We have Dunnes Stores. Yes, we've Dunnes Stores here. We have Primark. We have Tesco's. We have everything. And there's amazing furniture shops here. So I think one piece of advice for me is don't get fixated on bringing large items with you. You're not going to always need them, especially if you're going to rent in the beginning. You're probably going to rent something that's part furnished or fully furnished. So looking back on the actual packing and that, I guess I would say don't get fixated on bringing large items. Yes, your personal belongings, because they're sentimental and they mean things to you, but the larger things, sell them before you get on the plane, make an extra few quid, and then reinvest that money when you get to Spain on beautiful furniture with a more Mediterranean twist, right?
Yeah, 100% agree. Just come with your bags and buy everything new. We probably had more options here than we did in Ireland, but I couldn't tell you at the time, so we just rolled with it.
But there's many situations where you can't tell me at the time, but I always go back to you and go, oh yeah, Werner was probably right. I get an idea into my head and that's it. But yeah, hindsight is a great thing. I don't think you need to bring your large furniture with you. There's also great secondhand options and sites over here if you do want to buy something within a budget because you're not sure if you're going to move on again in a few years. So don't get caught up with that. Right, if we move on then to, I guess, first emotions and days in Spain. Tell me a little bit about how you felt in those early days.
In those early days, I just felt like home. I felt like the Pope had landed and he just wanted to kiss the ground. It was like the promised land. New adventure, new country, so many aspirations of what we were going to do, but no turning back. This had to work. That was the mindset that we went in with.
Why are we so emotional? Yeah, absolutely. It had to work. There was no plan B. It had to work. We put everything into it. We went all in. As we always say to our clients, you go all in. And it was like the universe was talking to us. It was like all the dominoes just lined up. So everything just fell into place. So the kids got into good schools, good nurseries. We just felt like an immediate, we're home. It just felt right. Of course, there's things to worry about. Where we're going to live, finding those things, jobs, all of those things. But for us, things fell into place. I think my biggest worry at the time was the kids settling in. That's just from my perspective. Oliver was 4 years of age. He didn't speak Spanish. So he went into the equivalent of like the second year of infant cycle. So the kids had already been together for a year. We threw him into this environment where the teacher had no English. She didn't speak any English. Abigail went to nursery. She went into a beautiful nursery. She had an amazing experience because she wasn't even speaking English. It didn't really matter. She immersed herself in Spanish life, Spanish nursery. She had a great time. Still to this day, the kids, they tease each other a little bit because Abigail's Spanish pronunciation is really amazing in comparison to Oliver's. Oliver's is good, but because he learned how to speak English in Ireland, he struggles with the double R's a little bit, whereas she's just rolling them off her tongue. So I'd say she just integrated. She was a baby. He was a little bit of a worry because he didn't have the language. My reflection would be that when the kids go into infant cycle here, they're quite independent compared to what we had been used to in nursery in Ireland. So they're going off to the toilets by themselves. He would have had to use his inhaler on his own. And that was a little bit of a worry for me. Looking back, would I do the same thing now? Yes. But I think I'd have more reservations now. I think because I was a little bit younger, we probably just rolled with it. But it was a huge step for him. So my anxieties were definitely around the kids settling in, for sure. That was front of mind for me. I think yours might have been different.
No, actually, it was probably the same. The first day of starting Spanish school, I think us two were crying and watching him go in, and he's like, I got this. He
100%.
didn't speak a word of Spanish, but the teachers were excellent with him, and I could speak Spanish, not fluently at that time. So she just said to me, don't worry, in a year's time, he will be fluent Spanish, and don't worry, it's not a problem. And she was right. She was totally right, but she always made sure that he was okay.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I have such fond memories of how they were both looked after in their schools. There's one thing I love about Spain is the warmth of the people and how they treat kids. And they love your kids like their own, when they're going to school. So I have such a fondness there when it comes to that. But you're right, the kids just flew the nest, as I would say. And I guess that's probably a reflection for anybody going through the move. Yes, you'll worry about your kids, but your kids are so bloody resilient. Probably more so than we give them credit for. It's actually us as parents do a lot of the worrying unnecessarily, right? Because they'll find their own way, they'll forge their own path. And it's actually amazing as a parent to watch your child do that, especially in a new environment. So probably if you're going through that settling in with kids, potentially you're worrying more than you need to. When it comes then to, as a family, like how we adapted the environment more in terms of the food, routines, it's fair to say that there is differences. There is cultural nuances there that you have to take into consideration. So like the food is definitely different. It's a Mediterranean lifestyle. So at the start, if you're not used to that, there's a little bit of adjusting. You're going to eat at different times of the day. So be prepared to eat your evening meal much later at night time. Now, for me, I found that a real shock to the system. I'm used to eating at 5:30 p.m, 6 p.m. in the evening, stodgy meal. Whereas in Spain, that process is normally happening at 9 p.m, 9:30 p.m, late into the evening. Now, when you start to live here and really understand it, especially into the summer period, you understand why, because it's too hot to eat your main meal at 5, 6 p.m. when it's roasting, still like 35 degrees outside. So you do get it. But if you're going to bed like maybe at 10:30, 11 p.m, you've just had your main meal at 9, 9:30, I used to find that process a little bit harsh on the tummy. That took a bit of an adjustment. And also like lunch here is from 2 p.m, 2:30, 3 p.m. We're used to having that maybe from 12:30, 1 o'clock. And they're still getting over like breakfast at that period. So meals, eating times, the type of foods that you're eating, definitely an adjustment. That did not faze the kids though, because they were eating meals in school, in Commodore, in dining hall. They were coming home eating octopus, paella, you name it. Their palate adapted very quickly, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think one thing about obviously Spanish schools, and they call it Comedor, which is the dinner school. You don't actually get to leave your chair unless you eat all your dinner. They had no option. There was no going back. They either ate the dinner or they didn't get out to play. And I remember Oliver, he's very clever. He says, "Oh, miss, I dropped my croquettes on the floor." And she said, "Don't worry." She gave him double.
Hates croquettes. He hates croquettes. Does not like croquettes at all. Yeah, that's really funny. and then I think I heard another story where he was wrapping them in a tissue and hiding them in his pocket for a while. But when it comes to other things, they do love seafood and paellas and the different types of soups that you find over here. So their palate is, I'd say that their palates like variety, right? So they like to try food. And they especially love fish.
Yeah, I always go back to when I was younger. I think with lettuce or mayonnaise or anything, I used to have everything plain. And now I just eat everything. And I'm like, I wish when I was younger, I just tried something. So that's what we're doing with the kids. Just try it. Try it and see if you like it. Thankfully, they did like it. So it's great.
Absolutely. I totally agree. We talk about bureaucracy a lot in other episodes and the bad reputation that Spain gets around bureaucracy. So I'm not going to really home in on that a lot because I think it's ground that we cover frequently. But look, it isn't your home country, so rules and regulations are different. So my advice here would be go into it with an open mind. If you're expecting it to be the same as in your home country, it's not going to be the same. And then that will be maybe grounds for you being disappointed. But just be open-minded. Expect it to be different. Be prepared, and you'll navigate the bureaucracy perfectly. There's also millions of experts out there, relocation specialists like Arena from Malaga Expat Consulting. There's so many experts out there we can put you in touch with that we can recommend that you could choose to work with to make your life easier. So I'd say don't stress that small stuff when it comes to the whole holistic view of your move. Warner, any regrets?
No regrets, Sandra. Spain has been absolutely fantastic for us. We've grown a successful business. The kids are fluent in languages and going on to the third language. They have great friends. We have a great circle. We have our dream home. What more could anybody ask for? We have the freedom to do what we want. We still have 325 sunshine days a year. And no regrets from my side. What about you?
Regrets, in the words of Robbie Williams. They don't work. No, I'm really bad here. No, I have no regrets. You paint a very idyllic view here that we have the perfect life. In many ways, we do have an amazing life, which I am so grateful for. But we've bloody worked hard to make that life happen. So as we always say to our clients, like, you can't come out here and not put in the groundwork and expect to have an idyllic life. You have to go all in on your experience. If you have 1 foot in Spain and you have 1 foot in your home country, this isn't going to work. It's both feet in, jump in, get to grips with your new reality, put in the work, integrate, research how you want your life to be. Understand what your goals and expectations are for your new life. 1 foot in, 1 foot out ain't going to happen. I think a lot of our success over here, and the reason that we have really made this whole, because it is home, is because we didn't have a plan B. We were going all in. This was going to be our new life and we had to make that work. So Warner paints a beautiful picture. Yes, life here is incredible. And I will be eternally grateful for life here. But take off the rose-tinted glasses for a sec. If you're not prepared to put in the groundwork, if you're not prepared to go all in, don't complain when life doesn't evolve the way you anticipate.
That's very true, Sandra. We did work very hard to build this life. We never left Spain. We made sure that if we were going to Spain, we went round Andalusia and visited different places and get the culture. We just wanted to settle in the Spanish lifestyle. Yeah, for the first couple of years it was hard, but we were all in, and we were making sure that we wanted to put that energy into building a life in Spain for us.
And I think we choose our hard, right? So there's hard and there's hard. Yeah, at the start everything's a little bit hard. Change, it's new environment. But we choose our hard. So it was enjoyable hard, if that makes sense. If anybody is really thinking about how's that feeling in the heart that this could be the life for them. Honestly speaking, I have no regrets. Don't sit where you are in 5 years, still looking out that same window, watching the pissing rain coming down around you, freezing cold, and go, God, I should have done that move 5 years ago when the kids were this age. And that just do it. If it's there, if it's a calling, if it's a feeling in your belly, if it's a feeling in your heart, if it's a niggle that won't go away. Maybe it's not going away for a reason. Maybe you're being called to pursue your new life in the sun. So go for it. Absolutely go for it. So that sums up our trip down memory lane today, and recapping back over our own journey. I feel that our journey really sums up the importance of really going for it and really being prepared, knowing what's in front of you and anticipating and putting in that groundwork. And this really was the inspiration behind our brand new course that is coming out to support you to do just that. It really is the roadmap we wished we had while we were doing our journey. So we're so proud of this. We've put so much blood, sweat and tears into it because we want you to be super prepared. We want you to have the support and know the things that we wish we knew when we were doing our big move back in 2016. So keep your eyes peeled in our emails, on our socials. This amazing digital course is landing very, very soon, and I can't wait. Now, if you've enjoyed this show, please drop us a message over on Instagram, Facebook or LinkedIn. We absolutely love hearing from you and we love your feedback. I promise I get such a happy buzz when I get your feedback or when you tell me about questions or topics that you would like to hear on the podcast. So until next time, adios for now. Thank you so much for listening into today's episode on the Costa Property Podcast. Another fantastic episode learning about the highs and lows of relocating to the Costa del Sol from real people who have been through the journey themselves and, of course, our wonderful experts. If you have been enjoying the show so far, remember to hit subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating or review.
We absolutely love hearing your thoughts. Please send any questions that you would like us to answer on the show to warner@wlcostaproperties.net. Or you can pop us a message on our socials, which are in the show notes. Remember, you can also visit the website, www.wlcostaproperties.net.
See you on the next episode, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.